from here, no matter what happens, I mean, what a year for us.
Some things are out of my control, and some things are not for me to second guess or whatever, because it's not going to do me any good.
One of the things about NASCAR, part of the full experience that makes NASCAR different than a football game or a baseball game, is the noise.
You know, you never know when you're just going to have an off weekend.
I've kind of gotten the ability to have the platform that I want, and it is my platform, and I can speak to whatever I feel like talking about.
We were in the mix, and it makes it a lot more fun when you're in the mix than you are just, struggling and trying to figure out what direction to go.
It's tough, and sorry for the advance of the words here.
It's like if you have, the all-you-can-eat buffet every single day of the week, people are going to get tired of it, right? So if it's a special thing, I think people get more excited for it.
Hi, Bo.
Raise your hand up so she can see it. There you go.
Truthfully, even as a company, I think it was, very head-scratching why at the beginning all four of us just went instantly straight to the back. We just really struggled.
Welcome back on the Backstretch. We are back for season 3, and it's kind of hard to imagine that we are already talking racing again. In 1 week, it will be race week at the Coliseum in LA. The Clash is back for its 3rd season out there as well. I just talked to a lot of drivers for the last couple weeks, kind of getting ready for the season. And as short as the season is, most of them are pretty excited for a new year, a new opportunity. I think maybe the only guy, and I haven't talked to him yet, so I don't know, but I think maybe the only guy that would like to bask in the glory of last season a little bit more would be Ryan Blaney, kind of enjoy that championship. But like it or not, the start of the season is coming in 1 week. We got a jam-packed show. This week, we're going to talk to, of course, as always, our crew chief, Chris Carrier. He's going to bring us up to date on kind of the changes and the new rules in the offseason. And then our guest this week is Erik Jones. He is a driver at Legacy Motor Club, and they are making a huge transition this year from Chevys to Toyotas. They're going to have much more factory support. Erik had some success with Legacy in his time there, but they didn't have the support last year that they had in previous years, and then kind of under the Richard Petty Motorsports banner. So I think they're going to have a little something for people this year, him and his teammate, John Hunter Nemechek. So we're going to talk to Erik. That'll be fun. I'm going to stop blabbing. We're going to get rolling. All right, let's bring in our crew chief, Chris Carrier, crew chief for the number 75 Food Country truck in the Craftsman Truck Series. First of all, Chris, let's talk about a little bit of a change for your team before we start talking about what's coming up in the Cup Series. You have a new driver this year.
Yes, ma'am, we do. We're going to run some races, a little bit undetermined how many and exactly where we're at, but Stephen Parsons is going to come in. He's been very good about he's bringing some funding to help out on that end, which is very important at this point. He's got some experience mostly in Xfinity Series. We're very excited about that. Good young man, great personality, great attitude. I think some good things are in the forefront for us. We're going to start out with Daytona with Stefan, and then Bristol race will be there no matter what. COTA, he's going to run COTA for sure. He has funding for a few more, and he's working on more as we go. But everything good as far as what we're doing in the shop, our approach to things, and what we're working on. It's really not much different than any other year at this time. It's very busy, working on a lot of things at one time. Of course, looking right around the corner. We're about 3 weeks away from leaving to go to Daytona, so it's upon us, and we're getting ready. We have a lot of energy, and we're excited. We're going to see what happens.
So 3 weeks out from the start of the official season, and a week out from the Clash, and NASCAR, of course, decides to drop a whole bunch of news this week. To me, the one that was kind of the most interesting was the change in the qualifying procedures, how they're going to line people up not based on speed, but every other kind of almost like they do at Daytona with the dual races, where they're going to go every other row. Inside row from Group 1, outside row number 3 from Group 2. Do you like this?
Heather, I don't know. I guess let me go through it a couple times and I'll stay tuned. I'll get, and it's, sometimes I have a little trouble, understanding the purpose behind a lot of this stuff. I have resigned myself a long time ago to say, you know what, some things are out of my control and some things are not for me to second guess or whatever, because it's not going to do me any good. Let's just roll with it. And we'll, as the competitors, the teams, they will roll with this. They'll probably be a little bit, I don't like this, or, oh, this is great. And pretty soon, it'll probably be a deal to where, well, I can't remember what we did different before this, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you say that because it's like I was watching an old race a couple of weeks ago on television, and they were single file restarts.
Yep.
And I was like, oh gosh. And it wasn't even that old of a race, but it was
not.
like,
No. Yeah.
wow, I had completely forgotten about that.
It was a game changer. I remember when they talked about it for a while, and they were looking for, okay, how can we make these races more exciting, more entertaining, have more passes and position change to where guys are going like this through the race and not just the first five being the first five for the whole race. And that was an idea that came out, and I think it's accomplished all those things. It has made the races more competitive, more entertaining, tearing up more stuff. So there's everything like that. There's usually some good bread and some burnt bread with it. So you just kind of deal with it.
So next week at the Clash, before the Clash, they're going to put David Reagan out in their battery-powered car and do a few test laps, and he's been testing it. I read somewhere on Twitter last week that the battery-run car that he ran in the test at Martinsville was only a few, I think, hundredths off the car now.
Okay.
How do you think, though, that this is going to go over with fans? It feels like fans are gonna, no matter how fast it is, no matter how good the racing is, I just have a feeling NASCAR fans are gonna not give it a chance until they have to.
Well, I can tell you from my age group, plus or minus a little bit, I think the vast majority will say, I don't want to see this. I don't like that. I came from the era where it's all, and it still is all pretty much, combustible engine and so on and so forth, and what we used to run, and my dad's car and my grandpa's car. This is, something, Heather, that it's like it's out there. It's twirling around us like an asteroid. There's other forms of racing that are doing this in some form, shape, or fashion, and it's going the direction, and everybody's just kind of throwing their bait into the river and seeing, okay, what do we bring out? There's positive and negative about it. Are we ready to switch completely over to that? No, but I can tell you, I've been in this going on 50 years now, and I can remember back to 30 years ago, and sometimes it was like yesterday. So it is around the corner. I don't think me and my age group are going to see the time when it takes completely over and we get used to it, but probably my daughter's age group will see it.
And I'm in between, right?
You're in between. You're much younger than me, but you.
But I'm like almost halfway between you and your daughter.
I understand.
For me, I guess the hardest thing would be the sensory, right? Because battery car operated cars don't make noise.
No.
And one of the things about NASCAR, part of the full experience that makes NASCAR different than a football game or a baseball game, is the noise. It's the sensories. You can feel the engines when they fire up. You can feel that vibration. And I don't know that the on-track product will be any different, because it sounds like this car's pretty fast, right?
Yeah.
But it does take away one of those senses, one of those sensory.
I think it's a big issue.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing, and I can tell you from the first time I was a kid and started going to the racetrack to even now, when I go, 50 years later and all the races I've been to, when I get into the racetrack and the first time one of the cars drive out on the racetrack and practice starts, it's like just what you're talking about. You feel that noise. It shakes your body, and it's like, oh boy, here we go.
And we've already lost one of those senses, because when I first started covering the sport 20 plus years ago, we were using different fuel. Like it smells different at the racetrack than it used to.
It does.
So you're already eliminating one of those senses. I would just hate to see all of that go away.
Me too. I'm, you know, I don't know. Is there a time down the road where we create an electric car series that goes along with basically what we already have? Would it be would it replace? This is me talking now. Would it replace some of the truck series or the Xfinity series, and you know, this would be their test pattern or test module for a while? Do they just run, okay, we're going to have a 10 race series and run some electric cars at a few racetracks and this, that, and that? I don't know, and I don't know that they know. Because
I got an idea for it.
Okay.
What about the newly revived IROC series as an electric car series?
Well, you know, Ray Evernham he's the guy that bought the rights to it, and he's a pretty innovative mind. I mean, he's not a guy that...
You can call me Ray. That one's for free.
Yeah, credit her. But, you know, to me, to be honest with you, that would not surprise me. And you know, they're going to have, if they're going to do this, whether it be 7 years down the road, 12 years down the road, 15, 20, to where, okay, now we're really racing electric cars, seriously, they're going to have some testing, like on-the-job testing. They're going to have, they can make practice laps, they can do this, they can do that, all this stuff, but they're going to have to go and have some test module racing. They're going to have to put fans in the stands, they're going to have the TV covers, they're going to have everything, drivers, you know, and go through and see, okay, they're going to have to see what the problems are going to be and fix those problems before they say, okay, this is us. This is what we are. Now, what happens way down that road, and where the political issues and the political concerns and of course the fan viewership and what's going on with the you know, the global warming and all the things that are invading our earth and our atmosphere and so on and so forth, where all that pushes this, because that's what's pushing it, then I mean, who knows? We could go through a lot of this before we get there, but I will say they're going to endeavor in it, because the younger people are now, to them, the younger generations, you know, hybrid or electric cars are just okay. It's part of our society, and it's not like I don't think younger people think about it as much as my age people do.
Right, or even mine.
Or even yours.
Well, because
or even a little bit younger.
Because because the younger generations, this is not necessarily like a smack in the face, but they aren't as much car people, right?
No,
I mean,
they're not.
our generations, you know, we love the curves of a Mustang, or the sound of a Corvette or whatever.
Right.
The younger generation does it look okay? Does it get good fuel economy to get me from A to B? I don't really care what it looks like on the outside. And then that, it's a broad stroke, but I mean there's not as much of a, it's not so much of a car thing anymore. It's just a transportation.
No, I don't think, you know, I don't think you don't go around the local fast food restaurants and everything and see even high schoolers, you know, running around and showing off their cars and stuff like that, and the college people aren't really worried about, I'm going to impress the girl I want to date with how nice a car I got or how fast a car I got. And just like you said, you know, there aren't any, you know, really cool muscle cars or really, you know, hot rod cars or anything.
The Mustang is one of the few, maybe, and I guess they're still making the Corvette, but there aren't many true muscle cars even being made anymore.
No.
You know.
No, there's not a market for them.
Right.
And, the argument is now with gas prices as high as they are, then look, we got to do something. I'd rather charge my battery on my car instead of paying $3 a gallon or whatever it's going to be at the gas pumps every week just to be able to get to work and get to the grocery store and get to where I need to be. There's arguments both ways.
Well, and to tell you, just to give you an idea, like the difference even between like 10 years in a generation, my brothers are both about 10 years younger than me. I just turned 50. They're 41 and 40. When the Mustang SUV came out, I just thought that was an abomination. I just thought that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And they looked at me like I had 6 eyes. My one brother has one or wants one. And I was like, how a Mustang is not an SUV.
Yeah.
It's not.
It'd
So.
be like having a banana hamburger
Right.
or something. And,
Right.
and that age group and down, we look at it, and I'm not going to include you in our old folks group, but, we look at stuff as like, how do you even think about that? Why would you even think that? And then they're looking like, what's wrong with that?
Right.
Because nowadays, people their age are the ones that's coming up with the ideas.
Right.
Most likely. And they're looking at like, okay, what are people my age and lower, not mine, but what are people, say 40s and younger, what are they going to want to buy? And companies are going to say, we got to provide them with what they're going to want to buy, no matter if 70-year-old people like Corvettes and Mustangs and T-Birds. We got to make what's going to sell. And NASCAR has to listen to that, and they're trying to. I see them making efforts. You can see things they're doing. They're trying to capturing that new group of spectators, which are, now a lot more different races. There's probably a lot more women, and they're trying to capture that young group. And you're talking teenagers up to mid-late 30s. That's the people they want to capture as what's going to support them down the road. And if having electric powered cars are going to be like, okay, this group, that big what turns them on. That's what's going to make them watch us on TV, support the products that we're trying to advertise, and also come and buy tickets to go into grandstands and watch the races and support us. Buy the marketing stuff, the souvenir stuff, the T-shirts, the hats. That's all the money income that supports us. If that's what it's going to take, then that's kind of what we need to be doing. That's what we need to be thinking about. It's like, to me, it's like the Los Angeles Coliseum thing. If you look at it from an owner's standpoint and like, okay, is this something that is good for the race teams? No, it's not. But if you look at it from the perspective of what those newer fans are looking at, spectators, a lot of those people are saying, wow, that's pretty cool. Man, they're racing in the Los Angeles Coliseum, they're knocking each other around at this, that, and other. They're out there.
They're
with
bringing
all
the Pitbull and Machine Gun Kelly and all these
Hollywood hip hop people
right.
and all the personalities that are popular, and I think NASCAR's trying to keep up with that and find where their home ground needs to be. Personally, I think they need to think about us old guys too, and the people that support them too, and try to make a product that's out there for them too, and that's difficult. Has other sports, has the NFL done that? I think so. I think they've done a pretty good job of that, keeping everybody happy. They've done a pretty good job of that. But NASCAR stock car racing is a little bit different than that. I think it's a little more difficult. But back to the electric car thing, one more part of that is like the noise part. I'm not so sure the younger generation connects to that. They're probably thinking about, I'd really like to go and be able to like hear what my wife is saying the next day and be able to save my hearing, and maybe this is something. And two, I'm not breathing carbon emissions. Now that's what they're thinking.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point. It's an absolute fair point.
When I was a kid, I didn't think a thing about that, not one thing. And I'm like, huh? And I can't hear for a week after I go to a race, and my mom is like going crazy because she thinks you're going to be deaf by the time you go to high school. So I think it's just we have to. It is an entertainment business. Bottom line, it's entertainment business. Period. And if NASCAR's a sanctioning body and they're putting this stuff on, they have to think about, okay, how do we entertain people 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, so on. We've done that for a long time, and they have rolled with the punches. hadn't been, a lot of decisions haven't been decisions that a whole lot of us liked or agreed with, or still agree with. But they keep on doing it. They have a history of, if something doesn't work, they find a way to say, okay, we're going to move over this way a little bit and rotate and change this a little bit and go back maybe to more what we were doing and more what we think. But we'll see. To me, it's kind of like, I love Batman movies, and if you watch his car, it's that the new ones anyway are now, they're like some kind of battery. It's not got the rocket flame coming out and everything, and it's kind of cool. Would I say, no, I'm never going again if they do electric motors? No, I would not. I would just adapt and say, okay, how do we make this thing run fast, and how do we make it drive better?
So, one final thing I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
I'll throw a couple things out there. What storyline should we be watching for this year? Is it the new Toyota and the Dark Horse Mustang and how they help? I mean, it seems like Ford and Toyota did pretty well. It was all said and done last year, and now they've got new cars to make them potentially better. Is it the rebuilt, much younger Stewart-Haas Racing? Is it Legacy Motor Club moving to Toyota? Is it Noah Gragson coming back? Is it Josh Berry? What storyline are you most looking forward to, or are you most watching this year?
Man, you named off a lot of the heavy hitters there as far as like, okay, what's going to catch people's attention and what's going to be the thing that's unfolding.
Or they'll throw another one out there, Penske. Are they the new Hendrick?
It's possible. I do know that the Ford body parts apparently are coming in a little late, and they're getting there, but they're going to get there, and that's not anything that's abnormal about this sport. Anything that come along is good. They're going to want to like make it the best they can until they absolutely have to have the parts, because once you get them out there, it's hard to go back.
Right.
I personally think that my gut feeling is that that's going to be a big help, a big plus for the Ford teams. Okay, then you go on to like Penske Racing is kind of pretty much staying the same as far as, it's all even crew chiefs, drivers, everything's kind of staying the same. They're not changing a whole lot in-house. So will they be able to pick up from winning the championship and get that momentum? They really came on like gangbusters right at the very end. And then, wow, all of a sudden they're in the playoffs, they're in the Final Four, and now they won the championship. And everybody's like, how did that happen? About half the year they couldn't outrun a school bus. And, will they be able to keep that going and get that momentum? Don't be surprised if they do. And then you talked about Stewart-Haas, the other Ford team, Kevin Harvick's gone. That's their Patrick Mahomes, okay? And they leaned on him a lot. And now he's gone on, he's retired, he's doing TV, he's got a kid coming up that's going to be a great racer probably. They moved Josh Berry in, has been a good stand-in driver and has filled in a lot of slots, has run very well in the Xfinity Series and the Dale Jr. cars. He's going to be filling some big shoes. Is he capable of that? Good chance there is.
I'll tell you who I think who actually has the biggest shoes to fill, because I don't think Barry's going to be filling that Harvick role. I think they're actually going to be looking to Chase Briscoe.
Right.
He's the guy that's been in the organization the longest.
He's been there.
You're I think the most pressure is on him.
It is, because he's the guy that, like, okay, you've been here long enough. You've won some races. You've run competitive. You've been up and down. You've kind of succeeded and suffered with the team as we go along. And are you going to be able to be the one that, like, okay, guys, we're going in the right direction. Keep doing this. The results will come. Or this isn't working. We need to come with a different plan. You need to go back to the drawing board and figure out some stuff because we're not competitive.
And it has to be him, right?
It has to be
because
him.
It's not going to be Josh or Noah.
No.
And I don't think Ryan Preece is at the point in his career where he can be that guy.
Either. All those three, Josh and Preece, I think could could help them get there by knowledge. I think Noah is not going to help them get there by car knowledge, but
he has a success.
Talented driver.
Yes.
He has success, and he's a talented driver. He may fit in there very well. He's kind of on like a little comeback deal here, so there's going to be a lot of eyes on him, to say, are you filling your shoes here? Are you bringing something to the table? He's a talented driver. He's going to drive hard. He's going to be a little bit unpredictable at times. He's going to be a little bit goofy, and that's okay because they're going to be looking at, okay, are we getting results here? Apparently, he's whatever that combination is of the goofy, exciting, talented, little unpredictable, or whatever. It helps him bring funding. There's sponsors that will follow him. So that team, I think, is going to be really interesting to follow because there's a lot different there. And then you talked about legacy motorsports. They've got John Hunter in the fold now. He came through with Toyota, and how he's going to fit in with everything else there. They've been kind of like they were building, and then kind of this year kind of stopped building. They sort of hit a mud hole a little bit, and then Noah left. They parted ways with Noah Gregson, and rebounded from that a little bit. Now they got John Hunter in the fold. Is he going to bring stuff to the table to make them stronger? We'll see. There are no more truck teams at GMS, so it's going to be 100% on the cut stuff. Pretty interesting to see what, and I'm still looking at Gibbs racing. I'm still wondering. It seems like to me, I don't know, you never kind of know, like, okay, Denny Hamlin, how far all the way in is he with Gibbs? He's got his own team. He's got, that's going to grow. And it's going to take his time away, and there'll be a time when maybe he says, you know what, I've had enough driving, I'm going to be a car owner. Who knows when that is? Still seems like he wants to be a driver. How big a step will Ty Gibbs make? I think that's something you got to watch this year. I think he will.
And it's interesting you bring up Gibbs because have they started to become a little bit of like, I hate to pick on football teams that just lost because it's raw and it's rough, but a little bit of the Buffalo Bills or Dallas Cowboys of NASCAR. I mean, they're always there, they're always strong, but I mean, Kyle Busch won a championship 3 or 4 years ago, but they haven't really won very many championships lately.
No, they haven't. They haven't put it all together right there when they needed it, and I don't really know, to be honest with you, with the drivers they have, the people they have within that organization, the experience they have, the equipment they have. I really, Heather, I don't know. I would hate to be the one that would walk in and say, okay, boys, this is what's wrong. I would hate to be the one that had to do that because to me that'd be a hard target to hit. To me, I want to see who is going to in that company who is going to step up and be the guy. Because Kyle Busch is gone. They're not looking at that. They can't find him no more. He's somewhere else. I think everybody thought Denny Hamlin would be the guy that would step up, and I think that's what they thought. But they've got Christopher Bell that is now, he's not a kid anymore. He's ready to, he should be seasoned. He should be at his prime. He can run fast. There's no doubt about that. And he can win races. Is it going to be him? Is it going to be Hamlin? Is how big a step's Ty Gibbs going to make? Somewhere along the line, that kid's going to make a big step, and he's either going to like, oh my goodness, he's taking over the whole thing, or he's going to hit a rock pretty hard. But he's a good race car driver. A lot to look at right there. A lot to look at. And then I think the last thing too that is going to interest a lot of people is to just mention Kyle Busch. Where is his relationship with Childress going? How far can he help take that team? Is he going to have to? He's going to have to carry it on his shoulders. How far can it go? What will be the future there? I think that's a lot of the old Earnhardt Childress fans, are just wanting it to be like, oh my gosh, I want to see that. I want to see it. Childress cars dominate. It hadn't really happened. So don't count them out. Don't count Kyle Busch out, but I think this year is going to tell you a lot about the future there. So, a lot to watch lot to look out for. Keep notes on and say, hey, I think I saw this coming, or no, wow, where'd this guy come from? So, be an interesting season. A lot of new stuff, a lot of changes to keep up with. Fixing to drop the green flag here in just a little over a week.
It's time.
It is time. It is time.
Well, I can't believe I'm saying this, but we're just 2 weeks from going back to the track. It feels like we were just wrapping things up in Phoenix. As a driver, do you feel like the off season is non-existent?
A bit. I had a really good off season. I got to do a lot of travel and do a lot of fun things, but it goes faster and faster. It seems like every year it's a little bit shorter. And man, this one was quick for sure. I feel like it just started, but I'm ready to get back going. I think you get a few weeks into it, and it's kind of nice to relax and recoup and rest, and then you're like, okay, well, I'm starting to get a little antsy, and then by the time you hit January and get through the holidays, you're ready to get back going. But yeah, I've been busy the last I got back a couple of weeks ago here to Charlotte and been knocking out production days and that sort of stuff, and working on some sim and some team stuff this week. So it's all fun and all good, but yeah, it does seem like it gets shorter every year.
I'm guessing if there's a year that you're more ready than any other to come back, it would be this year with all the changes at Legacy. How excited are you guys about the switch to Toyota and just all the support and stuff that's going to come with that?
We're definitely looking forward to this season. I think, talking to Dave and, the switch and the transition they've been making, it's been a lot of work. I mean, those guys have put in a lot of work this winter, switching everything over and getting prepared. And on the engineering side, learning the new sim and getting used to that. So been super busy for them, but I think everybody's pumped. It's a lot of preparation and a lot of work to make a manufacturer change, but we're all ready to just get rolling. You want to prepare and do everything you can, but at the same time, you want to just get to the track and see what you got and see where you stack up and see how things are going to work out. So we're all more than ready to get rolling for sure.
You've had obviously your best years when you were driving for Toyota, but you've had some success at Legacy too. Do you feel like personally this could be a combination that could really, get you back in the playoffs and back among those kind of drivers?
I would think so. I look at my career right now, and this would be my 8th season in Cup, which is kind of funny to think about. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, but it's at the point now where at this point in my career and life, you gotta make things start working, right? It's not like I'm on the front side anymore of things. So getting an opportunity like this is really awesome. I joined the 43, and we knew we had changes and improvement to make, and it was a big goal of mine to try to bring this group back to where we want to be, and the changes that we've made the last 4 years have been, very strategic, and some of them have been lucky. Obviously, I didn't convince Maury Gallagher to come in and buy the team, or Jimmy to come in and be a part of the team. So those have helped a lot, and bringing in, Toyota as a manufacturer. So all that together, is put up, all of us in a great spot. And for me, in my best position for sure, since I, was at JGR, and excited to just have opportunity to go have a lot of speed, I think, this year, and contend for wins. We want to be up front, contend for wins. We want to win multiple races. We want to make the playoffs. So we have big goals for sure. It's definitely going to be tough, with the switch this year, but we do have big goals.
You mentioned Moore and you mentioned Jimmy. So many people pulling to get that 43 back to what seems like its rightful place. As a driver who already has done so much for the 43, who got the win a couple years ago at Darlington, is it something you think about? I mean, you mentioned it, just bringing that 43 back to what the 43 is in all of our minds and memories.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know Richard well before I joined the 43, and I've gotten to know him so well over the last 4 years, and that's been so fun and been an honor, right, to become close with someone like that. But yeah, I take a lot of pride in it, and I know how bad he wants to see us go run well and be competitive and contend for wins and championships. And, it's I think been a long time goal of his, right? The 43 is never without Richard, it's never been, I don't think, where he's wanted it to be at. And so, this season is probably, like I said, the best opportunity for us to put the car where he thinks it should be and where we think it should be too. And man, to be able to win some more races for him. I mean, winning Darlington for him was just such a neat experience, and see his excitement. But to be able to go back to victory lane for those that his family, and contend for a championship, that would really be incredible.
So when do you guys start measuring what you are? Because the schedule this year is different in that there were a lot of unusual, different tracks at the beginning with the Coliseum and then Daytona and now Atlanta. Everybody used to say, oh, when we go to the West Coast swing, that's really where we start measuring. So when do you guys now start measuring who you are?
Yeah, it is tougher. I don't put a lot of merit in the Clash. That's such a unique track. You want to run well, but it's very unique. Daytona's Daytona, Atlanta now is Atlanta. So you really got to get past all that, and hopefully we start off well and run well. But we need to dive into some stuff after that, and really once we get a few races in after Atlanta, I think we'll have a good idea where we're at. But I think the super speedway stuff, I feel good we'll have speed for sure. Our super speedway package with Chevrolet was really good, and a lot of that is in-house body and what those guys do, and we can carry a handful of that product over. So I think that'll go well. But we obviously want to go run well at the 1.5 miles and in the short tracks and everywhere else. So it's going to take some time, just to know where we're stacking up at. I think it's going to be a few weeks just to see, okay, we're good here, we're off here, here's what we need to work on. So overall, yeah, it's going to take a few weeks to really know where we're stacking up.
All right, I got one non-racing question for you. You're from Michigan. Are you a Lions fan?
I am.
So how great is this for you right now?
It's been awesome. I mean, yesterday obviously was really from here, no matter what happens. I mean, what a year for us. It's I've never seen them be good. We've made the playoffs one time in my life, and we lost the first game of the play in the wild card round. So to see us win 2 games in the playoffs now, I mean, so neat, and a lot to celebrate. I am going to the Super Bowl no matter what. So I actually planned that a long time ago, and had no clue the Lions were going to be this good this year. So, hoping, really pulling for them next week. I mean, to make that game would be incredible for the city and the state and the team, and so many loyal fans have stuck by those guys for so many years, and it's just really neat to see them finally winning some games.
So for my final thought today, let's talk about the offseason. Is it too long? Is it too short? I think it's probably a little too short. I think it feels like, and I don't know if this is true, but it feels like the two ends are kind of inching closer and closer together. I know the season is starting a little bit earlier because the Super Bowl is moved a week back. So now, instead of being the Super Bowl, the Clash, Daytona, it goes the Clash, Daytona, Super Bowl. So we've lost that week, inching closer towards the end of last season. And it also feels like the end of the regular season or in the end of the NASCAR championship is also kind of squishing. I know it's really hard to make these schedules. If you're NASCAR, you have so much to deal with, and especially this year, having to take time off for the Olympics. It's going to be an even shorter off season this year. And look, I know we all work jobs all year round, right? We don't get any off time, but I do sort of feel sorry for these guys that are on the road so much. I mean, they travel a ton, and as soon as they get off the road, as soon as the holidays are over, boom, right back to work, and in another month they're back on the road again. So, I don't know how you do it, because there are so many weeks in a year and you have to get everything in there, but it does feel like the off season is getting shorter and shorter. Well, thanks for joining us this week on The Backstretch. We'll see you next week.